Hello and welcome to a Waking Moment podcast. I am your host, Danny Palacio. If this is the first time you're tuning in, I'm so grateful you found the podcast and I hope that you really enjoy it. And for those that are returning, thank you so much for your continued support. It means the world to me. So I want to dive in because this topic is near and dear to my heart, as well as I believe it will resonate with you. I want to acknowledge that the world is chaotic. I want to acknowledge that the world is full of disappointment. It's full of heartache. It's full of injustices. And it's important that at some level we acknowledge that that exists. I, for one, personally, I don't listen to the news. I don't read a newspaper. And some of you might be shocked by that. But I find that for who I am and how I live, it is a healthier choice for me. It doesn't mean that my eyes are closed or my head is in the sand. It simply means that the energies, the way in which the media reports it, the way in which it's written about is so dramatic and controversial, and this versus that. And so today I want to acknowledge that I believe you feel it. I believe you feel that hum, that vibrational discord that is in our pockets, in our purses, also known as our cell phones, that it is in our speech and in the way in which we perceive the world. And disaster's going to strike. We can't stop that. Or some believe we can. And for those that are in that camp, please continue. Please have the faith and the perseverance and the passion to continue to do what you can to make a difference. And so, in all of the chaos, in all of the discord, in all of the confusion, in all of the sadness, and in the frustration, you feel that. You feel disconnected. You feel unseen. You feel like it doesn't matter. And you can fill in the blank at the end of that sentence, that it doesn't matter if you're here or not. It doesn't matter if you go and protest. It doesn't matter if you hold a compassionate space for another. That feeling of invisibility causes so many problems. And today I want to talk a little bit about how we can shift, how we might be able to change the dynamic, to change the physics of actually the interaction and the world around us. And it all starts with you. And it all starts with very small shifts, very small changes. And when we start small, it actually helps us feel more empowered, to feel like our life is a choice. So I want to share a story, and maybe you can relate to this, but I have gone into a grocery store many times, hectic, chaotic, had a list of things I needed to get, wanted to get them as quick as possible and just get out of the store. And I didn't look around to see anyone else around me. I found it irritable that there were too many people in the store. I just wanted to get my things and get out. Finally find myself in the line waiting for a cashier to check me out. And I'm even annoyed by that. Like, I thought I just wanted to get in and get out. And so finally it's my turn and I unload my cart and the cashier is like, "Hey, how are you?" Or "How's your day going?" And I give some half-ass answer like, it's fine, or whatever. And I don't even look up, you guys. I don't even look up for a half a second to give that cashier a moment of acknowledgement, a moment of being seen and appreciated. And I swipe my card and I'm out the door. And my day goes on. And sometimes I reflect back and I feel the adversity, the shift in myself around, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to interact. I don't even want to be out in the grocery store. I just want to whatever. And I feel like we do that. I used a grocery store. You might do it by strolling on your phones, on your computers, on your laptops, on your iPads, notepads, whatever they are. You might be scrolling and just looking for something and you don't even know what you're looking at, really. You're just wasting time, zoning out, checking out. There are so many times I can do that too. And even Netflix binging. I feel like sometimes it's very medicinal. Sometimes it's really good medicine for you to just say, stop, lay down, sit down, and watch a movie, watch a few episodes of a show. I think that can be really beautiful. But what I'm really looking at today, trying to gather some awareness around, is taking the moment to look around, taking the moment to shift your perspective visually, literally, and look around. Maybe in that grocery store story of mine, there was a little old lady who couldn't reach the top shelf. I don't know because I didn't look up. Maybe that cashier was asking how I am because it's their job, but they're not having a good day. It's not like they can say, oh man, what a day. I'm having such a crappy day, blah, 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 right? They can't share that, but you can share a moment eye to eye, acknowledge that they exist and appreciate them for doing their job. And that might make a difference in someone's life. So is that something that you've done where you are flying through your day? You don't take the time, the moment, the slowdown to really assess what is happening around you. Now, you all know I live by a divine plan. I every day connect to it. I ask it the grand plan, the creator's plan for this incarnation. What is a yes and what is a no? And in that, I have a lot of faith and I do a lot of surrendering. I trust that the answers that I get are moving me in the direction for my soul. And personally, I want to move in the most direct line path versus going left and right and finding other ways to get to the same place. At this point in time in my life, I really just want the divine plan because I trust that it is more than I could possibly ever imagine. And that humbles me because when I think I know something, I have to let that go. And it's a daily moment to moment experience for me. And so coming down to the micro, coming out of the macro, where the larger, bigger world exists, where chaos exists, where fear is built, where control, domination, injustice, horrific things are happening, we might feel that. We might feel the grief and we might feel the mourning of the loss of what we desire our world to be. And if we come into ourselves and our individual moments, we then can embrace all of humanity through our own experience that is right in front of us. We do not have to live in the larger scope of reality in some way. All of our choices add up as a collective. So if all of our choices add up as a collective, if we're making the best choices, the ones, and that best is an interesting word. When we make choices that increase our joy, when we make choices that open our heart, when we make choices that allow us to connect, that creates frequency that is so beautiful and so high that everyone around you is then part of that. They receive it. You know, the old visual of you drop a rock into a pond and it ripples out. If you drop a boulder into the pond, it creates waves and ripples out. Both of them create waves and both of them carry an energy. And so you get to choose if you want to be the rock, you want to be the boulder. It is up to you. So it does require some intellectual logic thinking, because you have to intentionally create those moments. So as I was talking about the macro and the micro, I want to give you one more analogy. So if you have an iPhone, and I think it's also on like the Android phones as well, you can, in your camera settings, you can take a panorama picture mode and you can take a portrait mode. The panorama is gorgeous, right? It's big, it's expansive, and that bigness is something that we struggle with because it's not very clear. Like the pixels are small. So the wide view, the panorama view, is like us looking at all of the geopolitics, the economy, the wars that are happening, the atrocities that are happening against people of color, against women, against the LGBTQ plus community, around the working class versus the one percenters. There's so, and did you notice there was contrast between them? This versus that versus that. And there doesn't need to be that. All of that exists. So you have the choice to move your camera to the portrait mode. And the portrait mode is kind of beautiful because it says the background is there, but it's softened. And the thing that is the center of the picture is the person or yourself in that portrait. And in that portrait mode, there are clear, clean pixels that you can zoom into, and you can view that person, that thing in portrait mode in great detail with really high definition. And in this example, in that moment of choosing yourself in portrait mode, you become empowered. You become the center of your world. I've talked about it before, that you need to be the number one priority in your life. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I don't do it perfectly. And there are some days where I put people, things, experiences above and beyond me, and I get lost. And I'm grateful for the moment of being humble to say, whoa, I didn't put myself first, and look at what it's cost me. My peace of mind. Look at what it's cost me. Lack of sleep. Look at what it's caused me. The feeling of rush, my cortisol levels are high, my nervous system is stressed because there's so much. And when we take that portrait picture and create the density, the high definition of ourselves, we get to really truly take beautiful care of ourselves. So just simply put, turmoil thrives in the panorama view, and hope lives in the portrait view. If you feel unseen, it's probably because you're trying so hard and you're looking at a very wide perspective. And so I want you to zoom in really, really close so that you get to see each pore of your face and you get to see the sparkling quality of your eyes. Now, all of this might sound like a Pollyanna version of how to live in the world. I'm hoping that it's piqued some curiosity. I'm hoping that you will stop and you will ask yourself, am I looking broad and wide panorama view, or am I truly taking each moment as a moment, asking myself what feels life-giving, what feels beautiful, what feels delicious, that feeds our souls, our bodies, our cells, so that we can create incredibly intentional, attuned moments with strangers, with loved ones, with your kids, with your partner. Because these precious souls that are right here, right now in your life, are souls that have agreed to play in this world with you And that's a beautiful gift, no matter how long it lasts. That is not as important as the presence of the soul, the person, right here, right now. And I think I guess I want to also be transparent in saying that this topic came up because I recently had the 5th anniversary of my Uncle John passing, and he was a very significant person in my life, an incredible, beautiful soul. And it's beautiful to have memories to remember. It also stirs quite a lot of grief and sadness, and maybe even some questions around, what does it all mean? Why did he have to go when he went? Some might say it was too early for him. He died during the original COVID outbreak. And when people pass, whether it's their time, whether it's natural, whether it's through an accident or tragedy, or even suicide, it's all loss. And the interesting thing about loss and grief is there can be macro grief, collective grief, and there can be minute grief that adds up over time. So let's say, and this is going to be a silly example, but let's say I'm in that grocery store again, and I really wanted to get ice cream, and that particular store didn't have the ice cream flavor I wanted. Most of us would be like, oh, who cares? I'll just get a different kind. But what happens internally, particularly if you haven't processed old grief, old sadness, old disappointment, is that not getting what you want, the flavor of ice cream you want, it sets off a whole cascade of old guilt, of old sadness, of I can't have what I want. I lose everything I want. And it just creates a whirlwind dust storm of greater grief. And that's really hard to manage. I don't even think you can. You just have to surrender to it. But see, in that moment, we don't go, I really wanted that flavor. That makes me sad I can't eat the flavor of ice cream I really want. And just breathe, take that moment. And I know that seems silly, but think about all the other examples I could have used. I'm using something silly because I think you can get the concept of something silly versus something very serious. I could have used a very serious, dramatic, traumatic example. I don't want to trigger you. I don't want to set off that snowball, dust storm, whatever you want to call it, storm of the feeling you haven't felt. So that has happened to me, right? I shared about my uncle's passing and the anniversary of that. And my life every day changes. I wake up thinking one thing and end the day almost not quite knowing where I'm going, what I'm doing, how or who I am. So many emotions come up. And so I want to say that if you're having those emotions and you don't know how to feel, you're not alone. This is a big thing. You are not alone in your feelings. Other human beings have felt what you're feeling, maybe not exactly the same way, but they do have empathy. They can have compassion. And I am one of those safe people. I am one of those safe people that's not going to judge you, that's going to listen to you, that's going to offer an opportunity to shift that feeling, that will support you energetically, potentially could even help clear some of that emotion, some of that stuckness, some of that overwhelm, some of that hopelessness. So please reach out if you need that. I'm here for that. Okay, this has been a big topic for an episode. I want to say thank you for sticking in with me. And I have one last, let's call it a challenge, or let's call it a game. And I want to see if you'll take it on. So let's just say for the next week until the next episode comes out. So this is going to happen early next week at some point. It's a secret mission. Only you know about it. Pick a day. Do it for 24 hours, just one day. Doesn't have to be today, the day that you're listening to this. You can think about it for a moment. But pick a day. And for 24 hours, as a secret agent of witnessing, I want you to witness. So pick a person on the day that you've decided. So it could be a barista, it could be your spouse, it could be a child, it could be a friend, it could be a person at a grocery store, but pick one person and look at them long enough to notice one detail you have never seen before. Maybe it's physical, like a scar. Maybe it's how they yawn. Maybe it's the silver gray in their hair. Maybe it's how they stand. Maybe it's how they drink their latte. Just one person, look at them long enough to identify a detail that you've never seen in them before. And don't say anything about it. Just hold that detail in your mind, in your heart, and know that you did it. You only have to do it once. If you have fun, do it again. Do it with more people. But the point of this, very clearly, is by noticing them, you tether them to the earth. Because you see them, you find something, and they are tethered to the earth. They are grounded. We all need that. And the physics of connection dictates that you cannot tether another person without anchoring yourself. And we need that now. We all need to be anchored. And so by this one simple, fun, secret mission of truly witnessing another person, it will anchor you and it will tether them to the earth, and we will all feel more grounded. I hope you take me up on my challenge. I would love to hear how it goes, what you felt, if you felt nothing, if you felt something, if it was interesting. And so please just know that it's a game. It's an opportunity to shift perspective. Okay. So in closing, I want to say a few words that hopefully will feel more like a witnessing and an opportunity to heal, an opportunity to open your heart. So as a reminder, the world will keep on shouting. It will keep being loud. So let it be. You don't have to shout back to be heard. You don't. I know some of you believe you do. I believe you just have to lean in close to the life right in front of you and whisper, I see you. I see you. Because when you do that, the mirror turns around and suddenly you are seen too. Keep the circle small and be surprised who will meet you there. When we witness and acknowledge another, we too are seen. And so if you're feeling like no one sees you, that somehow you're not enough, that your trauma is bigger than someone else's, that the world is such a messed up place that you just are checked out completely, I get it. And I want you to know I see you. I hear you. And if you're hearing my voice right now, you were meant to. So I send you many blessings. I've said it before. I love you all, even if I've never met you before. I'm grateful for this opportunity of connection. So please have a wonderful moment if you can. And again, take a nice, slow, deep breath and acknowledge that you exist. And I'm grateful. Thank you so much. Until the next episode.